Welcome, friends and enemies, to episode 81 of the Adventures of the Bane Glorious. We've got everybody here. We've got Jess.
Hello.
We've got Kathryn.
Hello.
We've got Ed.
Hello.
We've got Adam.
Bonjour.
And we have Simon.
Good afternoon.
Well, but what if they're listening in the morning, Simon?
Good morning.
Can you say evening as well, just for...
Good evening.
And good night.
Well, no, good night is just not right.
Good luck. Not a fucking performing monkey.
I mean, that sort of is your job, but...
Not his money making.
Yeah, he's not been paid for it for a while, so...
Clarification, he's been paid for it?
Ooh.
Aww.
Last time, you were in hell, in the domicile of the collectors Abin, who you had parleyed and bargained with to give you information about the Infinite, an individual that you had brushed with before, particularly Erallur had come across a facet of them. She didn't know whether this was imaginary or what. You'd also heard a few mentions of them throughout your journeys, and finally felt that you could ask somebody who might have more information. Sabine gave you a potted legend of an individual who went by the name Infinite, their old name lost to time, of a boy wizard who had bargained and tricked a devil and somehow gained great power through this deal. They had then gone on to want to basically be the be-all and end-all of life, in that they would wipe out everybody else and somehow become infinite. The clarity of how they would do this was not terribly forthcoming, but Sabine also told you that there were a number of artifacts that this individual's pieces of soul had been placed into when they were defeated, as the people who tried to defeat them found that they just kept coming back in some way, shape or form. So they decided to put these facets of this Infinite into different magical artifacts. You had come across a few of them, including the book in Ardrathan, the sword, which you believe to be the Sword of Souls, the item which you have been tracking Farrellin across universes and planes in order to get hold of, the Staff of Power, which Erallur believed might have been the Staff of the Magi that she had possessed briefly, that had housed Starfy. And you also heard of a goblet that Sabine supposedly had, and that Farrellin had been after. Farrellin had left apparently without the goblet, but on your insistence that Sabine check that the goblet was present, they found that it was not and accused you of having stolen it, given that it was with them when Farrellin had left. You took exception to this to a degree and eventually did empty all of your bags. Unfortunately, I've kept all of the amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat chat in, by the way, Kathryn, because
I watched the whole song after we finished.
Jess is very confused, I'm sure. But it turned out that the goblet had appeared in Vigo's bag through him apparently not noticing or not knowing about it in any way, shape or form, and he had been with Juniper and Brenna the entire time, hadn't moved anywhere, isn't able to do magic to your knowledge. On the cup being revealed, Sabine attacked, you fought them whilst they brought up a wall of ice, splitting the party in two, and also called on the aid of a bone devil.
Bone devil.
The tactics were interesting, with Elsie throwing the ever-smoking bottle over the wall and obscuring everything, the other side of the wall, for both the enemies and her allies. Juniper managed to use an animate object spell and hit the Ice Devil quite a lot before the wall was put up. Eventually, you managed to defeat the Ice Devil, and Erallur and Elsie, having melted part of the ice wall and taking a little bit of damage because of that, managed to put the Bone Devil to sleep with Eye Bite via Erallur's spellcasting. At this point, you gathered up all your stuff as quickly as you could because it was still upon the floor, scattered. And just as the minute of Eye Bite was coming up, cast Plane Shift. Unfortunately, that 10% chance that plane shift would go wrong occurred, and you did not end up in Waterdeep as Erallur was helping, but you ended up in the Feywild. That is where you are. What would you like to do?
Can Flint tell that we are in the Feywild?
I believe you made a roll at the end of the last episode, and I believe that Flint made it, and I confirmed that it was the Feywild.
Ah, right, okay.
Some of you did. Some of you made a check. So, you know.
I then go, where the bloody hell are we?
I believe that we are in the Feywild.
The Fey what?
The Feywild. It's another... It's another plane of existence.
The plane we do not want to find ourselves in.
I would agree with that.
Well, how do we get out?
What happened?
Oh, yes. So
mistakes were
Stop
made.
talking. Tell me how we ended up here.
I forgot that I told you I wouldn't explain until later, and that later is now. So I have this magical cuirass, which I am wearing. And
Curious.
the curious cuirass. And
It's like a Lemony Snicket book.
and I can use it to take us to different planes with a small 10% chance that it will go wrong.
And I assume that's what's happened now?
Yes, I didn't take us here on purpose.
Oh, guys, this is bad.
It could have been so much worse. I'd just like you to know this is actually really quite good.
Could it though? Like, we've been in hell. We've been to the
That's true.
upside
That was my
down.
worst case scenario.
We have been to the upside down place. We've been to the windy place, but then didn't like magic. Like,
I mean, there's other hells that we could have gone to.
With all due respect, the Feywild is a place that we should try and avoid being in for, as we should try and get out as soon as we can.
okay,
I do
well,
not think that will be as easy as getting in. That is the problem.
can't you just use your magic again to poof
I can, yes, tomorrow.
tomorrow?
Can I look around and see if because is the Feywild, it's reflective of the material plane, is that right? It's kind of like similar
No.
but different.
It's not like the ethereal plane in the sense that that is just a smoky version of the material plane. There are elements of it that reflect the material plane, but they're warped and weird. And the Feywild's topography is very, very different. It doesn't match continentally. Okay. So, yeah, it wouldn't be that you are in the Waterdeep of the Feywild,
okay.
if that makes sense.
No, that's cool. Okay. I thought it was like fairy Waterdeep.
No, unfortunately not. That would be more the ethereal plane that you're thinking of.
That makes sense. Okay. Well, can I, look around and see where...
Yeah, of course. Make a perception check.
Yeah. 14. Well, 16, I suppose, if it's a spot check, isn't it?
Okay. You look around, you can see some massive toadstools that are variously in rings nearby. You can see some even more massive trees that lean over and form strange shapes and twist together as if made into archways, but they look like they've naturally grown that way as opposed to somebody teasing or hammering them into place. You can see a number of footprints and cobwebs and other markings of animal presences, but the thing about the cobwebs in particular is that they appear to be woven of gold as opposed to spider's silk. There is also just fairly quiet for the moment, a rhythmic humming. You're not really sure if it's chanting or instrumental, but there's just an edge to the atmosphere of almost not a hum that just continues, but there is a beat to it.
Is there a direction to the hum?
It's coming from your south, though it's coming from behind you. Whether that is south in the Feywild, you don't know.
I am a bard and I know musical instruments, but obviously there isn't a music score. What is this music?
Well, I'd say
It
would. Yeah, that is a tricky one.
Yeah.
I would say it would probably come under history.
History, yeah. That's
rather than performance, because you're not
I'm
performing
not. That's
it.
the thing. It's not like knowledge of Yeah, performance is.
Depends if you think
Okay.
that musical theory is completely necessary as an understanding in order to be a good performer.
That's true. That's
This
true.
is some heavy stuff.
Yeah.
Like, are you thinking of the performance skill as like a purely demonstrative?
Yeah, I suppose if you have an understanding of performance, which Juniper would, then you could use performance. That makes sense, Kathryn. Yeah.
Because I suppose you could have a character who's a bard who plays no instruments, but they're really good at musical theory.
I think somebody has. I
That
can't
would be
remember where I
amazing.
saw it, but I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure that somebody has done that. I'm in love with it. So yeah, Juniper, if you wanted to make a performance check, then please do.
Cool, I will roll a performance check. That's 19.
Okay, to your ears, it sounds very like drums
Hmm.
that are skin drum specifically, and they're quite small, just from the particular timbre of the noise. They're quite small.
It's drumming from small drums.
Can you tell which way it's coming from?
Can I easily tell which way it's coming from?
Yeah, it's coming from behind you.
I point behind me.
So do we follow the sound or go as far away from it as possible?
Depends entirely on what is making the sound.
Small fairies with small drums?
So Luke, you seem to know a little bit about this place. Do you know what could be making that noise?
Does Saluk know what could be making that noise?
Roll an Arcana check.
8.
There are a number of things that could be making that noise. All of them Fey, because of where you are. You're not really sure specifically whether they're dangerous or not. You don't know. You know that music can be very dangerous in the Feywild. It can also not be.
It is a creature of the Fey.
I could have probably deduced that.
You weren't asked.
So,
Do not know. I have not ever been here. I have had some encounters with elements of the Fey back in the forest of my home, but not. I have never been here, and I never thought I would come here. As I
seems to-
said, you do not come here lightly if you are not invited. And you are definitely not invited, so I would maybe want to move away from that noise.
I would also say that if we have to wait out a day in the Feywild, that might prove difficult. Not just because of what resides in the Feywild, but from what little I understand, time, I imagine, from what I have read, works differently. A day here might
no,
take
more time loops.
some more time, aye. But a day here might feel like a week, a month, maybe a decade.
At least it's our whole bodies this time.
I'm sorry, what?
Oh, we had a friend who had a baby arm. She's gone now.
You killed her?
No.
Because of the baby arm? That's
But
just
she
cruel.
got her normal arm. Did she get her normal arm back again?
Aye, she got a normal arm back again.
and then you
You
killed it.
did.
No. She became an owl and flew away.
She was a druid.
Ah,
Like, why do people...
Hang out with us, we're still asking that question as well.
Elsie, I'm pretty sure we're still in hell. It's just that we're dead and being tortured.
The issue is that Maud is wherever she is, and she's not going through any of this.
But
Like,
I do not
why
understand.
is it always me?
Do not understand why we are talking about anything else when we need to talk about how we are going to survive this. And believe me, we can survive this, but we need to be very careful and very focused. The creatures of the Feywild are not to be trusted.
So what are we looking for? Some kind of portal?
Would Saluk know how to find an exit/entrance?
Roll another Arcana check.
17.
You would know that there are definitely more available portals to and from the Feywild than most other realms. They tend to be in fairly remote areas just because people of Faerun don't like to live terribly close to such a strange influence. And in and around the area where you lived, there were particular areas where you were told not to go because they were under Fey influence of some kind. How that translates to getting to a portal whilst in the Feywild, a little bit more tricky, though you would probably recognise one were you to see it.
Are the portals naturally forming, or do they have to be created?
They are a mixture of both. There are definitely some that form naturally, and it happens that some of the vegetation moves through the portal and influences the other side, and that works both ways. So it might be worth looking for more normal, in inverted commas, plants and animals, because that might mean that you're closer to the material plane.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I've forgotten what the question was.
I mean, the question was basically, what are we looking for to get out? And the answer is normal plants and normal things.
Look for anything that is not the Feywild. My people have places that we do not go to, or places that we are not meant to go to anyway. They are places where the two realms spill into one another. So if you see anything familiar, it is likely from the material plane. Beyond that, I do not know. But I would not go towards that drumming if I got to make the choice.
So there's no friendly people here?
Oh, yes, of course, there are friendly people. There are also not so friendly people, just like everywhere.
And who plays the drums? The friendly ones or the not friendly ones?
Sir Luke does not know. And Sir Luke is not the best at judging who are the friends and who are the enemies until it becomes a little bit too late to get away from the drumming.
Wait, I'm trying to remember everything that we've seen and done in this past however many days, years, lifetimes. But didn't you say that Farrellin's family came to the Feywild?
They did, including one of our number, a man called Larthen. We might be able to find him. Feywild is a big place, but I'm sure he'd be willing to help.
Like, just a thought, like...
I feel like that's going to be just as difficult as trying to find an exit.
Well, why don't we try and see if we can find him/them? Because if he's not alone, then they may be able to help us. And if we're trying to look for them while looking for an exit, whichever one we find first, yay! Let's hope for the exit.
We come across them, great. We can say hello to your friend, but we should not waste time searching for them. This is not a singular forest. This is like an entire world.
So we might not be even in the right part of the whole world.
Well, there's that, and it also depends whether or not they want to be found.
Also true.
Just point of order again. Lorethel's family did not go into the Feywild. They
Oh, did they not?
No, they said that they were not going into the Feywild. The body of the elves did, but his family were going elsewhere. And Farrellin also mentioned that he had not found her because she didn't know where he was, and she went with the family. Just
yes.
It's fine, Elsie. We can pretend we don't know the details.
Well, we don't. We don't know the details. I'm going on second-hand information.
Luke tells everybody, wait here and please try not to touch anything, and then launches himself straight up above the tree line.
Okay.
What's the landscape like, and are there any points of interest?
Roll a perception check.
15.
The majority of it is trees, but unlike any trees that you've ever seen before, they are strange shapes. The plants, the flowers seem to move on them. There's even one that looks like it's a collection of hands that just waves at you slowly as you look at it, and then as soon as you look away from it, it stops moving. There's also a few clearings that you can see. There's the twinkling of light towards the twilight side of the sky. The sky is very odd in that it's purple and green, but there is definitely a darker portion to your right, and there's a little twinkling as if reflecting of water in that direction. You also notice that just to your left, diagonally in front of you, there's a portion of trees that suddenly disappears with no sound or...
Oh, not as in a feature where the trees stop, but as in they literally...
They just are pulled down, don't exist anymore.
Right, okay.
With no noise or any other seeming effect on the environment, they just disappear.
Okay.
All of that is away from the drumming.
Right. I turn around, watch towards the drumming.
Again, more forest, more clearings. You see a few birds in the distance, much smaller than you, so clearly not Aarakocra. But again, slightly odd shapes. Rather than distinctive feather patterns that you'd be used to, they seem to have a similarity to leaves, but they are still very able to fly, and some actually leave a little bit of a dust trail behind them, as if of pollen in their wake. And as you look further around, you notice that there's a few of these trails fairly close by, almost like aeroplane trails, but much smaller and sparklier.
Are any of them close enough to call to?
Probably, but obviously calling out could attract further attention.
I take one last look around, especially in the immediate area, just to see if any of the trees are moving, and then decide to drift back down. On the way down, as I'm going through the canopy, are there any of the golden spider webs within reach?
Roll an investigation check.
13.
There are a couple, yes. One of them is quite large. Can't see a spider on it, though.
Say, is there a quite large spider?
No.
Now the key vernacular there is I can't see a quite large spider.
No,
I know how this game works.
doesn't appear to be one.
Yeah. Oh, they see doesn't appear to be one. Yeah. I try to very nimbly with my claws just slash off the supporting struts, as it were, and stash it in my bag before getting back to the ground.
Yeah, so you gather it. It does actually tinkle slightly as you manage to get the threads together. It's definitely metallic and surprisingly heavy. Almost to the sense that it shouldn't be able to support its own weight.
Does it seem like real gold?
Are you taking the time to examine it?
How long? No.
It would just be a quick investigation check.
Okay,
for you,
yeah,
because you're a jeweler.
Yeah.
Yeah, so roll an investigation check.
18.
This is pyrite. It's fool's gold.
Okay. I cast it aside.
I mean, it's just as shiny, if not shinier.
Yeah.
I don't see the.
You say fool's gold, and I'm only thinking of the Matthew McConaughey, Kate Hudson vehicle. That's all I'm thinking. And I know that is a very, very niche reference.
And I don't know.
The deep cut.
Yeah, it's not very good.
Yeah, it's fool's gold. Yes, so Luke doesn't care for.
Oh, it's a very high value.
Yeah,
Bird.
it's
I put that bird.
the shininess attracts the attention, but the quality holds it.
Mm.
Yeah, I cast it aside and then just carry on back to the ground.
Okay, so Salute lands near to you as you just hear this noise of something flung off into the bushes.
Oh, it's nice to get some fresh air above the trees.
I didn't touch anything, I promise.
Is it normal for people to say that when they have not touched anything?
Well, I knew you'd probably judge me, so I just thought I'd just jump in there and tell you I didn't touch anything.
Speaking as somebody who usually touches things that they're not supposed to, it is very suspicious of somebody to say that.
Did she touch anything?
Elsie, did you touch anything?
I didn't get a chance to.
I don't think so.
Well, now I wasn't suspicious. I was just going to tell you what I saw. But now, why would you say that? Flint, did he touch anything?
I don't. I don't know. I'm just having a look around myself.
Speaking of touching things, Elsie, do you still have that wand?
What wand?
The wand
Oh,
that I
it's
saw you pick up. I was just wondering because as someone who uses entirely magic in combat, since we're in a very dangerous place and you have daggers and I don't, whether it might be more beneficial to the whole group if I held onto the wand.
Yeah, but also I hear tell of your hordes of magical weapons, so...
Let's see, I'll take my bag out. I mean, I tipped it out earlier, so you saw everything. Magical weapons.
You have a tab!
I have this called stuff that used to be magical, and then that was stolen away. This dagger, which I tried to give up because I thought maybe it was special, but I couldn't remember where I found it. You can have that if you like. And then this crossbow is just a normal crossbow.
We are stranded in the Feywilds and you are haggling over toys.
Seriously, I'll trade you this dagger. I think it's a special dagger. Its name is Stars.
I can see that obviously that she's quite desperate. So I just slightly begrudgingly, but I do hand it back over to her and go, yeah, you're probably better at using this right now. But I want to have a look at it at some point.
Oh, okay, thank you. I sense some character progression here, and I pat her on the head.
Well, we are, excuse me, a couple episodes ago we said we were friends.
Progression.
Progression.
Would you like the dagger?
Sure, why not?
It's very good at hitting things. I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, it is an 8.
So, oh, wait. Oh, yeah, I'll definitely take that. If it's an 8.
I hope it's not some really important secret thing that I forgot about.
Michael's now trawling back
Well,
through his notes.
Last time we talked about it, you said you didn't remember,
Yeah,
so
to be fair, I've forgotten about it too, so I very much doubt it's terribly important.
I'll message you the deets.
Thanks.
So Luke, whilst they're haggling, did you see anything?
I miss my people so much. Not an awful lot, no. This land looks nothing like like our plane. It's lots of wild forest, to be simple. There is some, I don't know, possibly a lake over to the northwest. I saw some movement in a similar direction as well. The trees, they fell away quite suddenly. And I do not know why. I do not know if that is a good thing or a bad thing, but the ground falling away makes me glad I am the one with wings. As for the noise to ourselves, I cannot see anything. In short, we're surrounded by forest, not a lot to go on. I say we pick a direction and stick with it. Oh, and whichever direction we do go in, don't touch anything. This is a sacred land, and you must show the same respect to it that I would. Do not even touch the smallest spider web. You leave them in place.
What are your passive perceptions, out of curiosity?
Rubbish.
Mine's 21.
Actually, 14.
11.
11.
So, Juniper, you
My stats are
notice
ridiculous.
that
Yeah.
where that thing, whatever it was, made the rustle,
Yeah.
it hit some leaves that looked sort of like dock leaves, but colossal and also bright yellow. Those leaves aren't there anymore.
So Luke,
Yes.
do plants move in the Feywilds?
Yes.
Because there were some big yellow leaves over there, and now there aren't.
Oh dear.
What does that mean?
We look where they were.
Okay, make a perception check.
15.
Okay. You see that there is a small rock with a few holes in it, almost like a coral sponge that's just sitting where Juniper gestured to.
Was that there before? Any points?
Do I remember seeing it before? I imagine it had been covered by the
No,
leaves.
It would have been covered by the leaves.
I don't think so. The leaves might have been in the way, though. Should we touch it?
I don't know. Do we know what it is?
I don't know.
Do we know what it is?
Roll an arcana check.
At your out of character voice.
That's
We'll
my.
also do an arcana
I've never actually spoken in my real voice to you guys.
Yeah.
That would be impressive.
Wow. It's been 84 years. 12.
I got 23 on my arcana check. Doesn't mean I'll know it, but
So Luke has no
it's
idea.
very magical.
Juniper, you imagine that it has something to do with the leaves, but you don't know what it is.
I
think-
get. Oh, go on.
Oh. I was just going to say, I think it's got something to do with the leaves. It wasn't going to be exciting. You go ahead. Yeah.
While they're deciding, I go up and poke it.
Okay.
As he pokes it, so Lucas turned around to continue the conversation. So that he dramatically interrupts.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Elsie moves over, kneels down because it is quite low on the ground, and pokes it. As soon as you do, yellow leaves shoot out of the hole, but one of the leaves is curled in such a way that it looks like a head. And there's a slightly disturbing moment, Elsie, as two little black eyes blink on the head before it bites you on the finger. That's a 17 to hit.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what was that?
You
Yes.
take 6 points of piercing damage as these tiny razor teeth that look also like leaves but are definitely sharp sink into your thumb, and there's a noise as the rest of you hear this strange sound emanating from where the rock was. And this thing seems to extend leaves out of the bottom of the shell, almost like a weird plant tortoise. And then it's very much standing its ground and glaring at you, Elsie, as your thumb is stuck in its maw.
I said do not touch anything.
Ah, you little barnacle, get off!
And then the mouth releases and the leaves shrink back into the shell.
Oh no, Elsie's going to become a plant werewolf.
Well, I suppose this is the end of the line, Elsie.
Does it look kickable?
You could give it a kick.
So yeah, once I've got my finger back, I get up and I'm like, ah, and I kick it.
Okay, roll an attack roll.
Would I have time to try and intercept?
Given how fast you are, I will say both of you roll initiative.
Can I move backwards?
You absolutely
I
can.
just like to get out of the way.
I'm going to out-accept.
So the roll that I just rolled, what do you want me to use that for?
That'll
Or do
be
you
your
want-
attack roll, but
Okay.
please roll an
And this is
initiative.
just straight strength.
Yes, it would be. No, the
just-
attack roll would be
Okay.
straight strength, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, what did people get?
I got an 8 for the attack, and I got a 7 for initiative.
23.
Oh,
So Luke, you run over as fast as you possibly can. The rest of you see this white-grey blur just move towards Elsie. Elsie, you lift the foot, ready, like Charlie Brown. So Luke, what are you doing?
I grab him by sorry, because it's Adam's place. I grab her by the back of the collar and just pull her backwards to yank her off balance.
Okay, so Elsie, you kick, and then suddenly a talon grips the back of your shirt, yanks you back, and your foot just flies up in the air. You
Ow.
don't quite lose your balance, but you definitely don't kick this strange thing.
But it bit me!
I asked you to have respect for this place and not to touch anything, and I meant it. Now, this is not directly my home, but it is close to the forest that I am from, and it is intrinsically linked. So please, do not kick my home.
But it bit me!
Do not kick my home!
As your voices rise, from behind where this thing was nestled, there's a rustle higher up in the leaves.
I'm, as a precaution, just going to cock my rifle and
Okay.
just, yeah, I won't do anything with it. I'm just going to, actually, tell you what, I'll hold an action if anything's going to attack us.
Okay, what are the rest of you doing?
Standing with Juniper.
sensible.
Uh-oh. I think I maybe woke the mother or father.
I release her collar. Please, we are friends, but respect this place.
Sorry.
Can we see anything above?
The rustling doesn't continue now that you've gone quiet.
Of course, if the Feywild kicks first, and he looks around awkwardly, then feel free to do what you want.
Okay. Shall we, Louise?
Sorry, Louise.
Shall we leave?
Seeing as we do not know which direction to go to get out, the rules of survival would say head towards water. I propose we head towards what might have been a lake.
Okay, which way is that?
That way. Yeah, I remember.
Oh, I love
Points
it.
slightly to your right.
So, in a direction away from the rustling leaves and the drum.
Yes.
Onward!
Okay, so you set off. Are you being stealthy? Are you being careful? Are you trying to look for any tracks? What are you looking for?
I think we should try and be stealthy, having risen something from the bushes.
Yes, I
Okay.
would agree.
Roll stealth checks then, please.
Stealth.
Well,
I've been doing so well.
Stealth.
6, and that's with a +4, which is
Aw.
as surprising to me as it is to you.
I got a 10.
I got a 9.
Oh,
Woo!
21.
Wow. Okay. The 21 slightly helps, but those are pretty low.
If you split the 21 up into 4 pieces and then add it on top of our scores,
Yeah, I mean, Brenna rolled a 17, so that's pretty good. Vigo also rolled a 10. So your
it's 30.
average is sitting at around 10. So you think you're being quite quiet. But there's a moment where Flint uncocks the gun just for safety, and it does give off a loud click as he does so, almost like a twig breaking. And the rest of you turn around and glare at him.
you did a bad, Ed.
Yeah, how dare you?
How dare you?
imagining like a Scooby-Doo like that. And you're
Yeah. I'm also instinctively looking out for more holy rocks to avoid.
Okay, roll a perception check then, please.
We must worship them.
the holy rock.
So that will be 21.
You don't see any more holy rocks.
Mhm.
You see a few rustling leaves, but they seem to be smaller, and you hear a little bit of chittering. So it's a different creature of some kind. The drums slowly fade into the background. It doesn't sound like they were coming any closer. It looks like that was quite localized. Yeah, you don't see anything that could be a threat.
Cool.
You continue on. Nothing seems to disturb you on your way. Is there anything you want to do whilst you're going?
Just keeping an eye out. Is anything following us, or
Okay, make a perception check.
Yep, and I guess also importantly, unlikely, but is there any sign of Farrellin I'm also looking out for? Not awful. 18.
There's no sign of Farrellin. There's no humanoid footprints that have come this way. And as you say, it's unlikely, given that this was a mistake by Erallur, that Farrellin was here first. It seems to that extent that the trail ended in hell. You do notice, in terms of things following you, attached to Saluk's back, just between the arch of his feathers, there is a silvery gold thread leading back where you came.
Does it look, for lack of a better word, spidery in nature?
It's possible.
Objection.
Overruled.
Saluk, you've got a little just between your wings, just back there. Let me try. Stand still. Let me try. No, stop turning around. Let me try. Hang on. Stay still.
The wings are like reflexively batting.
Just getting feathers to the face.
It's a mess.
I just stroke the wings and try and calm them, and just let me
speak in the hand like.
I bow and wait for Saluk to bow back. How adhesive does this look?
Oh, well, you just pull it and it comes off in your hand. Now that he's stopped moving, there's still a vibration in it.
Can I tell what kind of vibration?
Good vibration.
Roll a perception check again.
That's good. 5.
Yeah.
It's a vibration.
Okay.
It's odd because you're holding on to it and you're keeping it steady. So it shouldn't be vibrating.
Does it look like the spider web?
It's very similar.
Yes. How did that get there?
I don't know. It's quite shiny though.
It must have been when I flew up through the trees, and it must have attached to my back.
Is Saluk behaving like suspicious? Like maybe he put it there?
Roll an insight check. Saluk,
Now-
roll a deception check.
I'm more than happy if he's rolling inside.
Oh!
I feel like he's always acting a bit odd.
Well, you're acting pretty normal from my perspective because that was
Am
a
I now?
natural one.
Natural 1. Well, I take your natural 1 and I give you a 0.
What am I doing? Insight? Oh, yeah, okay, so +4.
It's like the worst liar with the worst interrogator.
But I'm naturally very insightful.
That's unbelievable that you just rolled natural ones.
I have a
And
minus.
somehow Erallur still knows that you're acting suspiciously.
Oh, I rolled a 2, but then I had minus.
Oh, you have a -2. Oh, wow.
Well, then in that case, but then surely a natural 1 overrules it.
You cannot crit fail a skill check.
Oh.
Terrible stuff will happen, but it's not a critical fail. It's only a critical fail if it's on an attack
So I got a
or a
5
saving
then.
throw, or yeah. Okay, yeah. You haven't known Saluk terribly long. He is not a very good liar. He touched something.
What did you touch?
I am sorry. I touched something after I told everybody not to touch something. I'm sorry.
You hypocrite!
I thought I had picked
A
up the
hippogriff.
skill to deceive you from our adventures, but it seems I still have much to learn. I am sorry.
What did you touch?
One of the spider webs.
Why the fuck would you do that?
Where is the piece of thread now?
It's in my hand.
I would not have that in your hand.
Why the fuck did you touch a spider web?
And
Then
nobody
drop
else
the
did.
thread.
Hang on.
I'm gonna hit his arm so that he drops it.
Ah! No, why would he touch a
And
spider
then I'm
web?
gonna pick him up from under his armpits. And I'm gonna lift him up and put him about 2 feet away.
Roll a strength check.
Are you fighting this, Flint?
I'm just kind of staring in disbelief at Saluk and talking while I'm assumedly being picked up.
Oh.
The hands go under your armpits, Flint, but your indignation holds you steady and firm on the ground.
Why? Saluk, why? I thought you were sensible.
But you still
I think-
dropped the thing, right?
Huh?
Did you still drop the threat when I hit you?
Oh yeah, no, I dropped the thing. I'm not an idiot.
I think Juniper just starts barking out of excitement. Everybody's making loud noises.
So there are barks, there's this strange skittering noise, and then something emerges from the trees. First thing that emerges is a sharp golden leg. It glitters beautifully as it steps and jabs into the ground, but then is quickly followed by a second. And as Saluk, you and Flint are the closest to this, you can see the tiny golden hairs that line these two large legs. It's not colossal. It's certainly not as tall as you, but it's pretty big. And then more legs follow, and you see the mandibles of this creature clack together and sparks fly off. You see the 8 molten gold eyes blink for one side, for the other, and silvery white and gold hair envelope its body that slightly tinkles as it moves, as a metallic golden spider moves into the clearing. I need everybody to roll initiative.
What kind of metal?
Looks like a mixture of gold, platinum, and silver.
That looks like I want it in my bag.
Oh,
Think
I
of all
rolled
the things that
good
Flint could make
initiative
out of
against
that.
Okay, 25 to 20, anybody? Flint?
A natural 20, so 24.
Ooh, that's your best initiative roll ever, I think.
I think it's probably my best roll ever.
You've definitely rolled some natural 20s before, it's just maybe not on your attacks.
For anything of use.
20 to 15.
Yes.
Erallur.
Oh dear.
17.
Juniper?
15.
Elsie.
16.
Again!
All in a
We
row.
almost went in. Last session, Jess, we did. Literally, Michael listed names, and we literally went like 14, 13, 12, 11, and we were all like,
Close. It was 13, 12, 11.
oh,
That were the sequential ones. Okay, 15 to 10. Saluk.
11.
And
Truffle is also 11, but I imagine has a much lower dex.
Yes,
That's
I would
right.
assume that is correct. Okay, so the order is Flint, Vigo, Brenner, because I can't roll poorly for those two on initiative, apparently. Erallur, Elsie, Juniper, Saluk, Truffle, the spider.
oh
The
wow.
poor spider.
Yes. Okay, so Flint, what are you doing first? As you are here next to Saluk, just out of the trees, and the spider is trying to loom, but is actually smaller than you.
Oh, that's the actual spider.
Yes, that is the
I
spider.
was like, when's he gonna place the spider?
No, it's not
Expecting
very,
like,
it's
Is that-
pretty, it's
Is that
pretty
what you
big.
thought?
I wouldn't want to meet one of them in real life.
It's pretty big, but it's not massive.
If it's only that, I guarantee you there is a big mummy spider on the way.
Literal, like in bandages.
Would I?
Yeah.
Would I do that?
100%.
When
So,
it zooms out, you'll realise we're actually on its back.
so is it made of metal, or does it just have the consistency of metal?
Roll a nature check.
20, not natural.
Someone had the heat metal spell. Sorry, carry on.
It seems like
Oh,
at
I
least
used to.
the outer carapace of it appears to be metal.
Brill. Okay, in that case, I am going to grab a hold of my gauntlet and I'm going to shoot my Behir lightning at it.
Okay, so make your attack roll.
So that's a 25 to hit.
That will definitely hit.
Okay. So 24 points of lightning damage.
Okay, so you reach out with the gauntlet, clench your fist, and the lightning arcs out. You see it dazzle and twitch between various spines, and there's this horrible metallic clanking that you very much think is it screaming in pain as you see the lightning dodge and dart over its form. That really, really hurt. It
Okay.
looks very hurt already.
Lovely.
And you can see a little bit of steam emanating from its abdomen.
Okay, I'm just going to stay where I am.
Okay, that's the end of Flint's turn. It's
Oh, actually, no. Can I back up to the left a little bit?
to the left here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
sure.
great. Yeah.
Okay, so it's now Vigo's turn. Vigo's just going to shoot his bow at it and manages to hit, so that's good. Ooh, okay. Flint having shot this thing full of lightning, Vigo slowly pulls the bow back, takes aim, looses an arrow that streaks straight into one of its eyes. There's a shower of sparks, Saluk, that comes towards you as the arrow seems to skitter. It sinks in, and the spider immediately flops onto the ground, dead.
Well, that was underwhelming.
Can I kick it now?
I suggest that we carry on moving, and maybe
Wait.
let's try not.
Wait, you mean we're not going to take the golden spider? It's made of gold, Flint.
I know.
I think considering we got into this mess by touching the golden thread, maybe we shouldn't touch the golden spider that made the thread.
My thoughts exactly.
Yeah, what makes golden spiders?
Probably bigger golden spiders, which is why I think we should probably get a move on.
Okay, I guess.
I'm going to look at Vigo as we leave and make sure he doesn't goddamn take the spider.
Roll an intimidation check.
Luke's already taken it.
He's like, ah.
17.
Okay, Vigo doesn't look cowed, but also isn't moving towards the spider. It seems the logic of the argument, as opposed to your glare, managed to persuade him.
Damn right.
Having picked up something of the rules and regulations of society, Saluk uses sleight of hand as his impulses overwhelm him, and he reaches to snap off one of the golden legs as Flint is distracted with his glaring.
Okay, I will say
Can any of
roll...
us see it?
Well, roll a sleight of hand check. This would go up against your passives because you're not aware that Saluk is doing this.
18.
Juniper, you spot Saluk trying to snap off one of the legs.
Yeah, it's 21. So, Luke, I don't think we're supposed to do that.
The rest of you are very close together and you hear Juniper whisper that.
I mean, she's not that smart.
I'm
Saluk,
gonna slap his hand away with my mage hand.
do I already...
Saluk, this disembodied hand moves from Erallur's in this strange smoky swirl and then just slaps your talon away from the golden leg.
Can I use my mage hand to slap Erallur's mage hand?
High five!
Can I,
This mage hand slap fight just starts.
can I stand between the mage hands and push the mage hands away from one another and just, for God's sake, stop it!
Roll a strength check against their mage hand strength checks.
I think mine mage
Can
hand is
just
just...
combine their carrying capacity?
It would, yes, it would make them able to carry 10 pounds.
Oh.
I'm just trying to
Power.
high five. It's Elsie who's trying to slap.
That's a strength of 10.
Okay, Erallur, could you roll a strength check? It's your strength this counts as, so...
8.
Okay.
Ooh, do I get to do it too?
Yeah.
I just did it because I assumed, but it was good. 20.
Okay, so
that's
Flint,
what a one
you
gets.
managed to shove Elsie's hand out of the way, but Erallur's is still trying to high-five it and just hits you in the face.
Everybody stop!
Oh, wow. I'm picturing, is it Sword in the Stone when he's trying to stop the joke?
Yeah.
Yeah, essentially.
Do-do-do-do-do-do.
Yeah, Erallur has not stated that she stopped it.
That's true. Okay, yeah, I'll stop. We're friends. I'll stop.
The hand stops.
Okay, let's make a move on.
Are we going quickly? I think we should go quickly.
Yeah, I don't think stealth worked out too well.
Okay.
Well, it did for some of us.
Says a disembodied voice from now on.
What?
So, you carry on. Saluk, if you're trying to head for the lake, can you make a survival check for me? Just to see if you can work out directions.
Nat 20, bitches.
The Feywild is a confusing place. The layout of the land doesn't seem to quite follow what you were expecting from your brief surveillance above it. And there are a couple of times where you seem to be being led in a particular direction that isn't the direction that you thought you were going in. But you are a very capable tracker and have hunted in forests before, and so managed to circumvent this. And the rest of you see Saluk double checking almost, and then moving off a path that he briefly took you down, but seems very assured of the route otherwise. You see a variety of plants. They seem to change every now and then and shift into new ones, new shapes. There's strange willows that seem to actually be making crying noises. There are large bucket plants that are secreting thick sap that smells sort of like caramel. There are Venus flytrap-like ones that pad on the floor that Saluk points out to you and you manage to avoid. And eventually you start to get the smell of mountain water coming to your nostrils as you near the lake.
You're getting close.
Oh, so what's the idea here, Saluk? Are we going to camp here and wait for Erallur's? I mean, to be honest, I don't know how long it's been since we last rested. Hell was a little bit weird time-wise, but...
It was a bit hellish.
Yeah, that. But I could do with a sleep if we're not too scared.
Would it be weird if there is a current to the water following the current?
There's not usually currents in lakes, though, is there?
But if there's maybe a river that feeds into the lake or feeds out of the lake,
I did not see if it was a lake. It is a... Now that we are close, it does seem to be a body of water, but we'll have to see what we come across. It was if we followed the path of the river, it will stop us going in circles.
Because
We do not have anywhere specific to go.
Did I hear mention of a pop-up boat?
Aye, you might have, but I don't know if my skills on the water will necessarily translate into, any of this. We may well find the water fighting against us.
That's true.
Well, before we worry about traveling down the lake, why don't we see what it is that we are heading towards, and perhaps we can find a place to stop.
Seems as good an idea as any to me.
And if it is indeed a flowing current, then that might even leave us camping next to a quick means of escape.
Okay.
Perhaps.
Okay, so you go through the trees?
Yeah.
Okay.
With abandon.
You come out onto the shoreline of a large crystalline lake. It stretches much further than the lake that you came across in the midst of the morning. Almost as far as your eyes can see. The water is extremely clear to the extent that you can see to the bottom, and the bank slowly slopes into it. There's no sheer drop or anything, and then you can see that the bed slowly inclines down deep and quickly goes down to about 10 feet deep. But you can definitely still see the bottom. The water is clear enough, and there doesn't seem to be sediment moving around in it to obscure this. You can see fish and a couple of what look like eels, but they are slightly more draconic in appearance than ones you're used to. They have more frills and a longer snout. The fish appear to be bioluminescent as they flash with green and red light. You are at the edge of what Saluk saw.
I don't think I'm the only one who has the wanderer background. As it says, you can find food, blah, 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 and fresh water.
Mm-hmm.
Would that translate into being able to investigate this lake and say, that is water, or hang on, that's not water?
Yeah, absolutely. Roll a nature check.
Natural 20.
Woo!
It's pure H2O.
It is water.
Okay. I kneel down in relief and take a sip from my hands.
Okay, so Saluk kneels down, takes some of the water. Saluk, it is the freshest, cleanest, most tasty water that you've ever had in your life.
Saluk leans back and does that weird kind of open beak trill thing that birds do when they have liquid, like, oh.
Oh no, he's going to be charmed by the water.
That is the freshest, cleanest water I have ever tasted.
What do the rest of you do?
Look on in horror.
Does it look magical?
No.
I feel like you've done that thing DMs do where they put a door somewhere and everyone's like, magical door? And you're like, it's just water, guys. But is it magic, though?
The answer is bones.
You're never going to let that one go, are you, Simon?
I feel like we've still not actually solved the riddle.
Still in
I
the...
just,
Well,
I
there
just
was a
got
riddle.
so bored.
I
The
feel
last riddle we got literally had no answer. Well, it was my riddle, wasn't it?
I feel like we're going to...
That's still there in my head.
At some point, we're going to go through a door, and it will turn out that we're still in that fucking room.
Oh, it's like a weird portal experiment where GLaDOS just comes out and says, "You never escaped."
I mean, I was thinking more like room 1408 or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but worse.
Yeah,
Because
so-
it's silent.
So Luke is taking a drink.
I'm going to just watch him very carefully and suspiciously.
Well, so are we going to look for a stream, or we're going to bed down here for the night?
Well, it depends on if our priority is getting out through some kind of exit or waiting until tomorrow and trying our luck.
I don't know about the rest of you. We could keep looking, but I got a little bit scraped up against those devils, so I could do with bandaging a few things up. And there's no guarantee that we actually find anything. I don't know whether there's more risk of us staying still and things finding us, or us moving around and finding more things.
Does there look like there's a good place to camp? So somewhere that's near the water, but with shelter in the tree line.
Yeah, there's a few places. The one that you're in now would suit quite well.
Do we even know what time it is?
No, you have no idea.
So, since time passes strangely here, it actually feels strange as well.
Yes, and the sky doesn't really darken other than towards one direction, but it stays consistently that colour. So direction-wise, you'd probably say that one is towards the twilight, one is towards the dawn, but there's not really day in between them. It's just shades of green and purple.
And which side are we on?
You were moving towards the twilight,
Okay.
so you're a little bit in the darker side.
Why don't we take a short rest now so that you can bandage up, and then, I mean, if we're going to be waiting till tomorrow anyway, we might as well look around, unless you think it's safer to stay in one place.
I don't know. I mean, it's kind of up to you folks, really. I kind of feel like Farrellin's not here. We got the sword back. I can see. I don't know whether I can go back to Manchun and say that we succeeded or not, because Farrellin's escaped and seemingly is on her own mission.
We may still have the power of the sword, and that is the main thing that we need to find. But
That's true.
we have no way to tell if she is in the Feywild, and it would be foolish to wander too far.
Well, why would she be in the Feywild? I mean, Erallur, you said we came here by mistake. I don't think she came here. Unless she was somehow with us during your plane shift, but I think we all had to hold hands for that.
I think I can choose who comes with us,
Yeah.
unless she was disguised as one of us.
That said, we seem to have been following her trail for some time, and it is a trail that I would not be surprised that she was leading us on. We don't know.
There is no trail. We know what tracking monsters and beasts is like, and that she has left no trail for quite a few, how would you say, jumps through portals.
But we don't know the full extent of her power, and I would imagine it would be unwise to believe that she does not have further designs.
Then don't you think it's best if we go back to someone with more authority who knows what they're talking about?
Absolutely.
The Open Lord. I thought we had this discussion already. We return to the Open Lord. We find out what to do.
Yes, which brings us to our original quandary, which is, do we stay here for the night to then go back towards Deep tomorrow morning, or do we try and find an exit?
While this conversation was happening, I've taken off my boots
Okay.
and I'm paddling in the lake.
Okay. Elsie is just paddling. There's little sounds of gnomish feet splashing in the water.
I mean, could we get the boat onto the lake to rest on the boat so we're further away from land?
We can, but like I say, I don't know whether that will necessarily make us safer or not.
Well, you supposedly know your way around a boat. I know my way around a boat, but there's at least two of us.
I'm happy to put it to a vote, but
That is twice the amount of people who normally know their way around a boat in this group.
fine. And I'll unfurl it on the water.
Okay. You unfold the boat, and not having fixed it from when it was broken, it starts to sink
Oh, disappear!
back into the box.
Can I use mending on it now that it's very, very small?
No, the box itself doesn't look broken, but in its boat form it is.
Can you mend magical objects anyway?
No.
Land it is.
I was much more impressed by your other boat, I have to say.
Aye, I'm wondering when I'll get to see her again.
So I'm going to start making camp.
Okay. So you start setting up camp.
Yup.
Are you keeping watch?
Yeah, I'll keep an eye out.
Okay. So who's taking first, second, and third?
Probably best if I don't go by myself. I'm not the most good.
I'm not the most good.
Yeah, I'll
We can go together if
Yeah.
you want to.
Okay, so that's Flint and Erallur on first watch.
I'll
Yeah.
take second.
Elsie on second. Anyone want to go with Elsie?
Someone should definitely go with Elsie.
Juniper can go with Elsie, I guess.
Okay, so Juniper and Elsie on second, and then
So Luke will wake up early and take third.
okay, Brenner also volunteers to take third. Flint, Erallur, could you roll perception checks for me, please?
10 from me.
Okay, Flint, you are very jumpy because of the spider thing, and every little noise in this place just makes you jitter a little bit. Doesn't make for a very restful watch, and you don't seem to notice anything that actually would be threatening. A lot of the noises are just little animal noises or water lapping against the shore. Erallur, you are quite distracted by the fidgety dwarf. And you think that at one point during the night you hear that drumming again, but it's quite a ways distance. It's definitely moved because you wouldn't have been able to hear it had it not moved, but it doesn't come close enough for it to be a bother. And you just look at the lake, both of you, and it's very strange because there's no real moon in the sky, despite the fact that it is quite dark and you feel like the moon should be rising or the light changing to a degree or something reflecting in the water. There's not really anything that really reminds you of the firmament of the material plane.
So, do you reckon once our watches are over, you'll be able to blink us back to Waterdeep?
Yeah, as reliably as ever.
Okay.
If you don't feel comfortable with it, we can find another way.
No, I think it's probably as good as we're going to get under the circumstances. But this whole Farrellin thing, I don't know, something about it. I feel like we're being played, and that we're not necessarily doing the playing. I think we're being strung along, and I don't understand why I think that. But
Well, if the description of these pieces of souls are correct, then we've obviously already interacted with a few of them. So whether or not that's chance or, I don't know, intention, maybe we were involved in this much before we thought we were.
just finding it all a little odd. Was all.
Well, hopefully we'll get towards Deep first thing tomorrow and be able to pass on what we found and either get our payment and go back to our lives or, I guess, follow further instructions.
Hopefully. I mean, we knew Farrellin, we knew her to be a good person.
Yeah, there's no doubt that I think she's being controlled. I don't know. Maybe she is completely in control of her own actions, but certainly this doesn't seem like it's just her on her own.
No. Well, hopefully we can find a way to help her, if nothing else.
The infinite seems like a big thing
Aye,
that's in the name.
aye. But
So we might be dealing with a lot more here than just Farrellin and a soul sword.
I don't doubt it. Right, let's wait the next.
Elsie?
5 more minutes.
And Juniper as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Elsie, I found there's definitely some drumming coming a bit closer, so just keep an ear out for that.
Oh! You're actually waking me up. Okay.
Yes,
Sorry. What was that about drumming?
that it's getting closer.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so Flint and Erallur take to their beds. Juniper, Elsie, could you roll perception checks for me, please?
Perception.
Natural 20. So that would then become a 31.
Ooh.
Oh,
AIDS.
I think that's the third natural 20 that you've had on perception checks with Elsie, and that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Very good at perceiving. I only got a 26, so just put me in
Oh,
the
only a 26.
I know,
Only a
just-
26.
Just useless,
Okay.
completely useless.
Those two were there like, doop-a-doop-a-doop. We're there like,
I see all.
Yeah. The others were like, how do eyes work again? Whereas you were just hawks. Okay.
It's very talented.
You both can hear the drumming
Mhm.
fairly regularly. Again, it doesn't get any closer to you. It just stays where it was, although it has moved since you first heard it. Around midnight, Elsie, you hear a slightly odd noise coming from the water.
Mhm.
Sounds a little bit like Maud, but it's garbled. It's almost like it's in Gnomish, but from very far away. But it's definitely got something familiar about the intonation of the speech.
I look over to Juniper and go, am I just tired or can you hear something?
Can I hear anything?
Juniper, you cannot hear anything other than the drums and the breathing of your sleeping and otherwise companions.
I can hear the drums and Flint snoring, but nothing else.
Right, just must be me. Just my brain trying to process a quiet moment in all of this insanity.
I mean, this is quite normal for us, really.
What do you guys do?
Well, we currently run a pub and it's very nice.
What? I'm so confused. I stumbled across you lot because you were wanting the sword, which I wanted.
I'm
So
so
then we then
confused.
Now you must have heard that.
Did I hear that?
No.
What did
It
you
must
hear,
just be
Elsie?
me.
I stand up and look around.
Okay, make a perception check.
30.
Across the water, there's just a strange shimmer. It's still on the surface of the water, but there seems to be a shape just bobbing slowly, and probably 120 feet away.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just catching the light oddly. You feel like you can't quite see it.
How close to the water's edge am I?
I'd say you probably camped about 15 feet away just to be safe.
Okay, so we're not too far away
No.
from it then. I walk up to the edge and try and see if I can get a better look.
Okay, make another perception check.
So then that is a 21.
Okay. It's difficult to tell. It seems to be drifting a little bit from side to side, but it's like half of a sphere bobbing on the surface of the water.
I turn back to Juniper. Can you see that?
Can I see that?
Make
And
a
I
perception
point.
check.
Yeah. Does the pointing help?
It will, yes, it will lower the DC.
That's a 24.
Okay, you see a shape. It catches the light oddly, and as you look at it, you feel and see a light dance across your own face, almost like the reflection of a watch. And Elsie, you see this too.
Mm-hmm.
Juniper, can you make a Constitution saving throw for me, please?
Sure. This is fine. So 6.
Okay, Juniper, you can't see anything anymore. Everything just goes dark.
Oh no, Elsie. I can't see anything.
But it's right there. How can you not see it?
No,
How can
I
you
saw
not see it?
I saw it and then there was a light on my face and now I can't see anything.
Oh, wait. What? So I turn away from the thing on the water.
Mhm.
So,
You look at Juniper, her eyes have gone completely white.
so you can't see anything?
No.
Okay. Something is going on here. Try and think of who might be best to wake. So I go over to Saluk because he's the one that's been the most rested.
Okay. As you go over to him, you hear this slightly odd sloshing noise coming closer.
Okay. So before I wake Saluk, I look back at the thing in the water.
You turn back and there is a face an inch from your own.
Ah!
It looks like you, but it's made of water. There's the blue hair,
Mm-hmm.
but it's dripping and leaving droplets on the ground. Your body seems to shiver and slightly undulate into shape before it finally solidifies into the size and shape that you're more familiar with. And then the eyes open, but they're just watery blankness. And then it holds out a hand. Can you make a wisdom saving throw for me, please?
No. Oh, 14.
You really want to take this thing's hand?
Oh, no.
Elsie, what's happening?
I don't know. I'm stood next to the lying Saluk, is that right?
Yeah. But you really
Um,
want to take this thing's hand
yeah.
above anything else.
I take the hand then.
You take the hand, and there's a weird flip as you suddenly stand on the other side of where you were, and colour floods this creature. The same colours of your clothes, the same colours as your skin, and then it just starts to push you towards the water. And everything in your being screams at you that this is not a good idea. Can you make another wisdom saving throw for me, please?
Oh no. 5.
You cannot seem to resist it as it leads you slowly towards the water and then just looses its grip as you slip backwards. Juniper, there is a splash.
Elsie,
Elsie, can you make a constitution saving throw for me, please?
I would like to make a lot of noise.
Okay, so Juniper starts barking. The rest of you are roused by this.
21 on my constitution save.
Okay, so just before you hit the water, you manage to take a breath and hold it.
What do we see?
Moral perception checks through your bleary eyes.
How rested are we, having been roused?
You're not quite fully rested. It's maybe hour 6. And Erallur and Flint aren't barely rested at all. They've had 2 hours sleep.
So I'll leave things as all for now.
Okay. What did everybody get?
23.
Natural 20.
Wow, 2 in an episode, Flint.
All right.
Saluk?
21.
Oh, so perceptive, guys.
Mm-hmm.
This is the episode of perception.
So you notice that Juniper is standing just looking around, but apparently unable to see. Her eyes have gone a very similar shade to Erallur's. You can't see splash marks or drips, but Elsie's just standing on the edge of the water looking out, and there seem to be just a few ripples.
Rush over to them and say, Juniper, did you bark?
I did. There was something on the lake and it blinded me. And then Elsie didn't answer me, and I think she's in the water.
No, she's
I'm
right
okay.
here. She's here. Did we hear a splash?
You didn't, no.
Is there anything that appears out of place or odd?
Roll an investigation check.
Doesn't look like anything to me.
Yeah.
Because that was an 11.
No, it's just the ripples of the water.
As I'm blinded, can I do a sniff check?
Yeah, sure. What are you trying to sniff out?
What's occurring? And I guess I would try to sniff Elsie
Okay.
and her general condition. So that's an 18.
Yeah, it smells like slightly salty water, which is the familiar brine of Elsie.
Yeah, I can smell water and Elsie, so that's good. Wet Elsie?
No, I think whatever it was is gone.
Oh, it could have given me my sight back.
What
That was
happened?
very naughty.
What happened to your eyes, Juniper? Can I take her face and look?
I sneeze. There was a light on my face, and then I couldn't see anymore. So I think it might be magical.
Where
Which
did
is
the
good.
Where did the light come from?
From the water, there was a shape, but I couldn't see it very well. And then I couldn't see at all.
Can I go check out the water?
Sure, roll a perception check.
And can I
Could
see
you roll an arcana check for me?
6.
The water is far less clear than it was, but it doesn't look like any mud has been kicked up. It's just not very visible.
Hmm.
The light hasn't changed, but it's almost as if somebody's changed, almost like on a computer, they've changed the opacity settings of the colour. It's really strange.
Can I see if I know what's happened to Juniper's eyes?
Roll an arcana check. So Luke, could you also roll an arcana check for me?
Can.
Elsie, what is your constitution bonus?
+2.
Okay, got it.
19 from me.
3 from me.
Okay. Erallur, you think that Juniper has been magically blinded. You're not sure by what, but something has cast a spell on her, or there's a magical effect that's gone off. Saluk, you're not familiar with a Feywild creature that could do this.
From all this talk about lakes, Salute, unsheaths his quarterstaff. He's just going to fly about 15 feet up and just keep a very, very watchful eye across the span of the lake.
Okay, roll a perception check then.
19.
Yeah, you see the ripples moving across, and they're going a little bit further than you would think from where they were. You don't know. There wasn't any splash marks or anything, so you don't think that anything was dropped in the lake, but it's weird that it's still rippling to that degree. Maybe something came up to the surface briefly and then moved back down. You're not really sure.
Is it possible to tell the center point of the ripples?
Fairly close to the shore where you were, but then just as you watch, they die down.
Saluk lands near that spot and fishes around with the quarterstaff in the water.
Elsie says, "What are you doing?"
It looks like something moved the water here.
Well, but didn't you say not to touch anything?
It's water.
Yeah, but if there was something in the water that blinded Juniper, do you want to be blinded?
It's not very fun.
Juniper, did you touch the water?
No, I was away from the water actually. And you drunk it and you seemed fine.
And Elsie paddled in it.
I guess she's fine.
Elsie, can you make a strength saving throw for me, please?
Why? 10.
Okay. So you're somehow almost frozen in the water, just below the surface, and you can see all of your friends moving around, flying. You can see Saluk poke, but the pole seems to go through you.
Okay.
It doesn't hurt, but it just seems to drip through. And you can very much see the other version of you talking with your friends, discussing things. And there's a pang of jealousy, and there's a pang of loss as several weed-like hands reach up and start to pull you deeper into the water. Can you make another wisdom saving throw for me, please?
5.
Okay. The shock of these strange, wet, clutching fingers reaching you makes you go, and the bubbles drip out of your mouth. You lose your breath. Usually you'd be able to hold your breath for 3 minutes because you get 1 minute plus your constitution mod.
Okay.
So you've been holding it for quite a long time, but you are getting to the point where you are starting to drown. Juniper, you notice a single bubble pop on the surface.
I won't because I'm blind unless
of
I'm
course
hearing
you
it.
won't.
I could
Yeah.
hear it, I guess.
Roll a perception check. Roll a perception check.
Yeah, yeah.
As I'm prodding around and looking at that exact spot, would I?
Yeah, I'd say roll a perception check as well.
Yeah. Oh dear.
There's nothing here.
I didn't know whether you'd stopped because the others had told you maybe it was a bad idea.
No, I stayed there, maybe stopped stirring around. I hadn't moved yet.
I got a 17.
Okay.
It was an
now
18.
You both hear a plop as a bubble goes a little way away from where you're jabbing the pole, Saluk.
What was that?
I think there was a bubble.
That means something is underneath the water.
Do we really want to find out what that is?
I mean, if it can give me my sight back, I'll be very grateful.
Well, but if it's a big monster,
If it is a big monster that has hurt our friend, then
Can I point at where they are looking and use True Strike?
you can. What does that mean again?
It,
It's been a
well,
long time
it
since
doesn't
you used
necessarily
it, by the way.
benefit me mechanically, but I'm hoping it will tell me if there's someone there. Because it gives me advantage on attacks, but it also tells me something. Let me
doesn't it
just
say
check.
like what weaknesses are or something?
It's not that powerful, but similar.
Yeah,
Is it
it's
like
just-
it doesn't?
Brief insight into their defenses. It's
Yeah,
the
and
wording.
it's a target in range, so it's not one that you can see,
Ooh,
which is interesting wording.
good question. That I didn't even think to check that.
So you point, you cast True Strike, and you get a weird sense that there is something in the pool. You're not really sure what it is, and you get a little bit of insight into its defenses, but its defenses are diminishing rapidly. It's almost as something is being attacked down there and is not winning the fight.
Okay.
Elsie, by this point, you are unconscious.
Okay.
So I'm going to need you to make a death saving throw.
Did I get a sense of how far away the thing is?
Well, the shoreline wasn't that deep, so 5 feet maybe.
Okay. So I'll just say to everyone, There's something down there. I don't think it's hostile, and then I'm just gonna go for it and run in.
Okay. Can you roll
Dive
an
in or whatever.
Can you roll an initiative check for me, please?
Yeah.
Michael, just so you know, I got a 6.
Okay, that is a failure, so count 1 failure on your sheet.
Have another character rolled up,
Natural
Adam?
20.
Hello, he's back.
So
Okay,
21.
so you run in, you see that Elsie goes to try and stop you, but you're too fast. And just as you wade into the water, she just says, "But we were told not to touch anything." You wade into the water, doesn't seem to be anything there.
Okay, so it's not like deep enough to swim in.
Not yet, it's about 5 feet down, so it would probably be coming up to your chin. Because how tall are you again, being one of the tallest?
The tallest.
Other than Brenna?
5'7".
Okay, yeah, so it probably comes just above your chin.
Oh, okay, so it is quite deep.
Elsie seems awfully. Maybe this has just been metaing it, but Elsie, the Elsie who stands on the bank, seems awfully keen to follow rules, and that is not like the Elsie I know.
Literally thinking the same thing.
To be fair, she did try and kick a turtle and got remonstrated against.
Yeah,
And she agreed to, so...
maybe.
I feel like you are on the very edge of meta here, both of you, Ed and Simon.
Can I use Mage Hand and waft it around in the water?
Sure, yeah, so you waft it around. Elsie, can you make another death saving throw for me, please?
Can
You
you
can
use a
see
different...
that some sediment kicks up a little bit. You move some weeds, but it's quite difficult to see.
That's not a good expression, Adam.
Oh, Adam.
12.
Ah,
Ooh, that is a success.
good.
Ooh.
While it's happening, as Erallur has now strode.
Strode.
Has now strudled into the water. There's literally, with a bit of a huff, "Oh, well, thanks." So he turns away and turns to Elsie. Elsie, you were on watch as well. Did you see anything?
Well, I saw a shape.
What kind of shape?
It was like a big egg, kind of.
And what happened?
And then there was a shimmer, and then Juniper went blind.
I turn to Juniper and say, "Does that line up with what you felt as well?"
Yeah. I mean, I didn't really see a lot, did I? It was just basic. Yeah. I didn't catch sight of it for long before it blinded me. Sorry, Flint.
No apologies needed. I'm gonna use my water expertise and join Erallur in the lake.
Before he does that.
How tall is Flint? Just as a...
He's just over 5 foot, I think. No, he's exactly 5 foot.
Okay, so you go under the water if you do that.
Okay, maybe I
So
won't
it's
do
5
that.
feet deep.
Well, can I try this thing first?
Yeah, of course you can.
Just because
So
to
Flint
avoid damage.
Flint starts to wade to the water, realizes that it gets deep. You know, it's a gradual thing, but it would go over your head were you to wade any deeper, Flint.
Yeah.
So, what I'd like to try is I'd like to try Thunderstep,
Okay.
having read the wording.
That's always the way to get to my heart, Kathryn.
I'm hoping that this works, and I don't think it's too meta because just to explain my mindset,
Okay.
I'm thinking whatever is here, I don't know if it's good or bad, but I want to get it out of the water so we know what it is.
Okay.
So I can bring along objects or a willing creature of my size or smaller. I don't have to be able to see it. It just has to be within 5 feet of me.
Okay.
So I'd like to try that.
You try that. There is a woof as the water is burst aside and you can see ripples flowing across the lake. So Luke, Flint, you get drenched as Erallur disappears. Where do you reappear, Erallur?
Well, I can go 10 feet, so I'm going to go back onto the shore.
Just back on shore. Okay.
Yeah.
And then Elsie drops, bedraggled, unconscious, and slightly odd looking. There's a translucency to her limbs. You can see her veins through the skin. They are very blue, and you can almost see the edge of the muscles as well. You pulled something up, and the other Elsie looks and goes, "What is that?"
Erallur, what in the skies? Oh,
Can I
sorry.
kneel down next to this sort of creature-y thing
Yeah.
and just check if they are breathing?
You
They
can
need
roll,
medical attention.
Roll a medicine check.
Who knew? I don't even think I'm very good at medicine. No, I'm quite good at medicine.
Yay!
That's a 9.
Don't seem to be breathing.
Okay.
Elsie says, Erallur, I wouldn't get too close to that if that's the thing that... It looks like me. Why does it look like me?
What to do?
Can
we
I-
can always kill it later, and then I'll use healing hands.
Oh, okay.
I think
So-
I've still got one of them. Yeah, I have.
You place your hands on it and the warm light spreads through. You can see it shifting into the blood and pulsing down the limbs and through the veins and around the head. And Elsie, there's a sudden as water spurts out of the mouth and you become conscious again. How many points do you use?
Just looking that up. You might have to come back to me.
Okay. I think it's just your level.
Yeah, I thought so as well. I'm just, equal to your level.
Yeah,
So what is
Elsie,
that?
You are at 13 hit points.
Okay.
And you come coughing and spluttering to consciousness with Erallur's healing hands atop
I
your
step
chest.
closer to the upright Elsie,
Yeah.
the other one, and put my arm out to guard her as prone Elsie snaps back upright and gasps. Stay away from it. It seems to have eyes on you. I don't want you to get hurt.
Well, but is that because I went into the water?
I don't know.
Because you drank from it. And Erallur just went in the water, and so did Flint.
Can
don't-
I? Oh no, you go.
No, I just said I don't know.
Can I get a sense of what's happening here? Can I get a sense of what this other strange translucent Elsie is?
Roll an Arcana check.
I still can't see what's going on.
This is very confusing, Juniper.
Yeah.
That's an 18.
You don't know. It's a water creature of some kind. Probably Fey.
I'm
You've
going to
never
hold
heard of
my
anything
wand
like this.
to her
Maybe
neck.
a water genasi or an elemental of some kind, but it's weird that it looks like Elsie. Elsie, you're coughing, and then suddenly a wand, very familiar to you, scratches against your neck under the chin.
Who are you, and why do you look like my friend?
But why did you blind our other friend?
Yeah.
Real? Huh? I try and point to the fake Elsie. And she not real.
What's she saying?
Swallowed an eel.
I'm Elsie. That put me in the water.
No, I'm Elsie.
Okay, Elsies. You have to each tell us something. Only Elsie would know.
But you,
Which one of you can only tell the truth?
you believe this thing?
You haven't answered the question yet.
Neither she.
I almost drowned.
That's not a very good answer.
Yeah, we all know that.
I'm just trying to think of something that.
Salute backs away from the Elsie that he's standing near and just edges over to Juniper. Slowly kneels down next to, leans in. Juniper, now, I do not know if you are in any situation to be able to cast effectively without your sight, but can you not make people tell the truth?
I can.
I would very much like to see you do it. I've only heard you speak about it, and I think it might be useful here.
It's a good spell. I cast Zone of Truth.
Okay, how big is the radius on Zone of Truth?
The 15-foot sphere.
Okay, that would probably catch both of them in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so what kind of saving throw is it?
Charisma saving throw.
Charisma, okay. So
We all have to do it.
Yeah, everybody
Yes.
in it has to do it. And I know who.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
And I know whether or not they fail or succeed. So
okay.
So I got a 3.
I rolled a 2, but
Fail.
I have an 11.
fail.
-1.
Fail.
I got a 9.
Fail.
Okay. Other Elsie got a 13.
Also fail. The DC 17. Like my stats are crazy.
It would suck so much if we all failed except for the other one.
Oh god,
Okay.
imagine if fake Elsie won.
Everybody,
Vigo and Brenner also fail.
everybody has to tell the truth. Now, what is my favourite colour?
Flint opens his mouth and suddenly rescinds his hand as he realizes he has absolutely no idea.
I think it's all the colours.
Yes, it is all the colours.
Which is even sadder because she can't see any right now. How long does
Okay.
this last? We should probably ask more
So-
questions.
Does
hold on.
Erallur pass?
Erallur is the real Erallur.
Okay, so we each answer one question, we pass.
Sure.
Okay, I feel kind of at a disadvantage because I don't know you as well, but I'll give it a shot.
Saluk, what's the name of your hometown? And you have to say exactly the same as you said it last time.
I do not know if I am the real Saluk.
Oh, damn. Yeah, it lasts for 10 minutes, so we don't have forever.
I'm scared to answer in case I find out the horrible truth. I'm not saying
Come on, it's here. I have it written down.
Could you send it to me?
Okay. What does it mean?
Could you send it to me?
Did you just make that up on the fly?
Yeah, this is what comes of making shit up on the fly and not writing it down afterwards.
Yes, I made it up on the fucking fly.
It's Simon! While this is happening, do I have enough strength to stand up?
Yes, you would do
Okay.
by now.
I do not know if this is true, but in the common tongue, I come from the good place.
But you said it didn't translate into the common tongue.
We did say earlier it meant good place.
Yeah, but in
Well,
his
no.
tongue, I'm confused.
Well, no, I remember, or I think I remember, that it does not translate directly, but that is the closest comparison.
I'll take that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, thank you,
So-
guys.
So,
You're a
Saluk,
real bird.
you ask the next question.
And maybe ask one of the Elsies. We can carry on with our fun afterwards.
I turn to the Elsie that I was standing near,
Okay.
and I say, Elsie. And then he pauses as he's clearly thinking very deeply about what could he ask that only the real Elsie would know. What happened to Juniper's father?
I killed him.
Now it's your turn.
Yeah, go on, Elsie. Ask a question.
Watery me. Coffee McGee, you.
I think we broke Elsie.
It's clearly my unsurpassable impression of Adam.
Yeah.
And that really got you, didn't it?
Yeah.
Why do I want the Sword of Souls?
To bring my dead sister back to life.
Shit. That is what I would have said. I don't know if I'm the real Elsie now. So Luke, I'm scared.
Okay, it's Elsie's turn now. And Elsie.
I am sorry, but I do not know if the real Elsie, being true to herself, would have revealed what happened to Juniper's dad.
But we have to tell the truth though, don't we? I'm compelled to tell the truth.
Yes, but you lie to yourself and believe what you choose to.
Yeah, but you were all there. Some of you didn't see, but you knew.
What if they're both the real Elsie?
No,
And
no,
they've been
look, it's too
split
confusing
up.
for them both to be the real Elsie.
We must combine them back in one.
Elsies run at each other.
Yeah.
You have to fuse.
What happens if you touch? Go and touch.
I walk over to her.
Okay, you go and touch. Elsie, you notice for the first time that your hands are slightly blue and see-through,
Uh-huh.
and you touch. And when you touch, there's a slightly odd ripple that flows through your skin. Yes, it's like you're popping and locking, obviously. Nothing else
now-
seems to happen.
Now I'm face to face with her.
Hmm.
I look her dead in the eyes and go, "What's her name then?"
Whose?
Our dead sister.
There's a silence for a second, but it's my silence rather than hers.
Check
Because
notes.
I am actually checking my notes and I can't find it. Adam, would you mind messaging it to me?
Yeah.
Nod to Kathryn.
Esther.
Okay, they both know all the answers, so
Are you the real Elsie?
Yes.
No. Shit.
what did I do that before?
I'm sorry. I revealed my deep dark secret, and that's all the fuck we needed to do.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
This is me signing off. Goodbye.
I think that was the greatest Juniper moment.
I love you so much, Jess.
I'm really glad it wasn't just me that didn't think to do that.
Oh,
Well, I guess I'll be going then.
Yeah.
Bye.
okay,
And
nice to meet you.
the other Elsie starts walking towards the lake.
Can I get in the way?
Okay.
And I'm gonna
You're in my way.
prepare a ray of frost,
Oh,
and
can I have,
then
can I
say,
have my sight
"Give her
back,
her
please?"
sight back, or I will
Oh.
ray of frost you."
Okay. Clicks the fingers. Juniper, you can now see again.
Thank you.
Okay, and then I'll let her go.
I walk over to fake Elsie.
I'm going. It's fine.
You tried to kill me!
But I didn't.
I'm watery!
Oh yeah, turn
Oh.
her back to normal again.
Well, that'll go back to normal after a few days.
A few days.
Yeah, once I take on somebody's shape, I need to readjust to mine, and it'll take a few days. It'll be fine.
Does anyone have a large glass jar that we can put her in?
Probably.
Well, yeah. Got
I mean,
the,
I won't fit. I'm your size, so, and also I'm not the watery one at the moment.
Yeah, we could put you in it. And don't do it again. And then I'll let her go.
I promise I won't do it to any of you.
Good enough.
And she starts to walk across the surface of the water, and then slowly you see as her legs shift back into the surface, but don't appear beneath it, and then she just bobs. And Elsie and Juniper, you see that slightly strange spherical object again, realise that it was her head as her hair flows back into water, and you see the face, Elsie, that you saw before, but slightly higher forehead and higher hairline than your own, and eyes of deep jade green just wink at you before the head sinks below the water again. Well, that was fucking weird.
But now I feel like we actually are friends.
so it's not just you and Maud then?
With the last of my energy, I flop to the ground. Because obviously I almost died.
Mm-hmm.
And I just go, oh, that was unexpected. And then turn to the others and go, no, it's not just Maud and I. There were the Skipstone Sisters 3.
What happened?
To be honest, it's not your tragic, not your dramatic tale of, dying for valor or honor. She just fell ill, and we couldn't get someone to her in time to try and save her. But she's always with me, and I walk over to my pack, open it up, and get out a bottle and go, she's here.
And you see a crystal bottle, multifaceted and cut quite intricately with a wax seal stopper, and just shimmering beyond the cut of the crystal, there's a faint aquamarine light that just bobs in a slow circle.
Say hello, sis.
Doesn't seem to be a reaction from the thing in the bottle.
Is
I
that
gotta
a
look. Oh, go on.
No, I was just going to say, is that a soul?
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm not crazy. She's not actually going to talk to you. But yes, that's the soul of my sister.
How?
The person that we went to go and get to help save Esther was then able to do this. Was then able to capture her soul before it left, I think. Don't really know how it's worked. To be honest, it may not even be her. It could just be a complete con. But as far as I've been led to believe, this is my sister's soul, and that's why we wanted the Sword of Souls, to try and return our sister to us.
I touched the spider web earlier. I'm so sorry.
We know we were there.
I hope, Elsie, next time it doesn't take a zone of truth for you to share things with us.
No one else was meant to get involved. We were going to win the competition, and once we'd done it, we would bring her back in whatever way we could.
Plans have a way of becoming more complicated than you ever intended.
Definitely. That's my deep, dark secret. I'm not actually doing this for myself at all. I'm doing it for my little sister.
You are good. You did not realize it before, but you are.
So I guess the question is now, with that in mind, what's our next move?
I think probably some more sleep, do you?
No, sounds good.
I am awake. I will take over my watch from now if you like.
That would be nice.
Yeah, I can do the same. Also, just while Zone of Truth is up, I would like it to be known that I didn't steal the goblet. It just ended up in my bag. There we go. I said it. It's true.
I'm going to give him a pat on the shoulder.
Thanks, pal. Okay, so do you bed down?
Yeah, I'll just wave my hand in front of Juniper a little bit just to reassure her that sight is okay.
It definitely is.
Okay.
Thank you.
I walk around so that I'm then sleeping on the other side of people. So there are other people between me and the leg.
Got it. Okay,
And go to sleep.
so Salute, could you make a perception check for me?
A natural one. If I say I've not been in the lake.
You stare at the lake. You're very, very, very focused on the lake. And as the others start to rouse, you realise that you were only looking at one spot of the lake for the majority of your watch. But fortunately, Vigo was much more aware, and nothing came close to you during the rest of your rest. Your hit points are restored, your spell slots are restored, half any hit dice that you used are also restored.
Yay.
Vigo rubs his hands together and says, "So, Erallur, we going to try this again?
If we're all ready.
Did you say you own a pub?
Yes,
Could I get breakfast at that pub?"
you may. We have very good rates.
Awesome.
Am
Okay.
I still
You have very
watery?
nice tankards there as well.
You are still watery, yes. It's diminished somewhat, but you are still slightly translucent.
Okay, so before we go, I try and cover up as much of my skin as possible. I put some gloves on, I tie the cloak around a bit tighter, button up the coat, just so that, I suppose, if anything, only my face is on show.
I imagine you also probably have a rather magnificent hat.
Yes.
Being a
Oh, yes, I can
pirate.
put on my hat.
Yes.
I've not worn my hat at
So
all.
you place the hat on, and this aquamarine feather that matches Elsie's hair swishes back. And
Forgot about the hat.
as she's flouncing around, it definitely tickles your nose a few times, Juniper.
I have a question.
Shoot.
Am I still 2 points corrupted?
Now you have had a rest, you are only 1 point corrupted.
Oh, we'll never know what it meant.
Okay, so
Right.
do you cast Plane Shift?
Yes.
Can you roll a D100 for me then, please?
Yes.
Here we go.
One of those.
If we go back to hell, I'm leaving.
0.
Oh, then.
Here we go again.
So I roll one of them and then one of the 10.
Yeah.
It is just 6.
6. Okay, so you all come to the circle. You all join hands. The cuirass starts to sparkle, and there's a of wind as you all disappear and blink out of the Feywild. Were you focusing on the tavern, Erallur?
Yes.
Okay. Inside or outside?
Inside
Okay.
the rooms. In like private rooms,
The
our
bedrooms,
rooms.
the bedrooms.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And you back into the familiar bedroom. One of the larger ones, given that the extension is a little bit weird and Flint and Juniper's rooms were extended a bit oddly. I think you're probably in your own room, Erallur, because there's enough space in that one. So you come to Erallur's lightly decorated room.
Tasteful.
Yeah. You are
Couple
back
of
in Waterdeep.
plants.
Roll perception checks for me.
14.
What kind?
This would be a listen.
That was a 4.
23.
22.
And Juniper?
19.
Okay. Okay, so Juniper, Erallur, Elsie, and Brenna, you hear that there's quite a hubbub going on downstairs, and there appear to be a lot of rushing feet going out of the bar, and then also there's some down the street, as if people are travelling out of the tavern quite quickly or along the street outside quite quickly.
Can we look out the window?
You can make a perception check.
Oh no. 9.
You look out the window, and unfortunately, because it goes onto the back and over the extension, you're actually just looking out onto a back street, and there's quite a lot of buildings in the way. You can see a few people running down the alley behind and going to the main street, and then you just glance to the edge as far as you can. There are a lot of people going down that thoroughfare, away from the docks, and they all seem to be chattering excitedly and slightly, well, not excitedly, just quite nervously.
It's good. It's not like running in fear.
But they're running towards something, but it doesn't look like they're terribly happy about it. There is a degree of apprehension.
Something's going on.
What do you mean by something?
Well, can't you hear the people running?
Flint, you can't. You've just got a slightly odd ringing in your ears. Can all of you roll wisdom saving throws for me, please?
Now I do well.
15.
18.
4.
14.
Okay. Flint, you have no memory of your time in the Feywild. At all. The last thing you remember is plane shifting out of hell.
So he thinks that we just came straight here.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we may never talk about it.
Yeah.
Right, I think
Jokes.
we need to go find out what everyone's running for.
That seems like a good idea. Let's put breakfast on hold for a while.
Yeah, we should make sure we didn't bring anything back from hell with us.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't that long ago, so I don't think I would be confused by that.
Yeah.
Well, yes, of course.
Or any of that thread. We don't want to go on those spiders following
We
us.
all laugh.
How I go.
Are we all our real selves?
That was a very posh laugh for Flint, Ed.
I mean, he's trying to laugh along.
Guys, are we just glossing over the fact that I almost died? Like,
Okay, let's
come on.
find out. Okay.
I think I would try and go straight to the open road. Shall we go?
Okay, you go out of the tavern and you can see that the docks are, by the point that you get down there, deserted. But as you move through the room, there's nobody in the tavern either. Not any sign of Orkins, Hawkins, or Dwarkins even.
Can't believe they left their post.
I was
Juniper,
just going to say the same.
You notice that just behind the bar, where the door would open onto it, there's a little almost saloon door. That's propped open, and you can see that there's a new addition behind the bar. There's these two slightly odd metal railings that come a little ways off the floor, almost ramp up, and then run behind the bar as you're rushing past. They're semicircular. The semicircle points upwards, so they're less railings overhanging, and they're at the wrong height for most people.
You've made some additions to the bar.
Weren't your friends meant to be serving?
Well,
We will find out what's going on when we go outside.
yeah, maybe whatever's going on is so wonderful that they've left their posts.
Wonderful in a city
Possible.
like Waterdeep.
Oh, are we going?
Yes.
Yeah, we go.
Okay, so you run outside. You can hear the dying hubbub as the crowd moves away from you. Do you go towards the crowd?
Yeah, but I'm also going to check behind us as we go.
Like
Okay.
keeping the distance from the crowd.
Yeah.
Okay, so Erallur, can you roll a perception check for me?
14.
You start to go. It looks like a few people right at the front, and this is a large crowd of people. It looks like the vast majority of the people who live in Dockward are going towards the outer gates of the city. And as you look, more and more are streaming into the crowd. And you can see that some people are on roofs. And Elsie, you notice that there seem to be a few of them with telescopes propped to their eyes. And then they take the telescope away, rub the lens, and then look at it again, more shocked.
Can we just grab a random passerby?
They're a little distance away. You would have to catch up with the mob.
Oh, okay.
Can I shout up to someone with a telescope?
Sure. What do you shout?
What do you see?
I don't know. It's flying. Why is it flying?
What's flying?
A city. There's a flying city.
So Luke looks in the direction that his telescope is pointing.
You can't see there are buildings in the way.
Oh, it's over the buildings. Okay.
Yeah, because you're down on a street.
We've all just completely missed this huge.
Yeah.
I thought it might be like behind us and it'd be like a dramatic turn.
No.
As a shadow just slowly moves over. Noting the direction that this man seems to be looking from his telescope, we've been in Waterdeep a fair few times before. Can I find our way to a position where we might have a better eye line?
Yeah, you could do. You could climb up. There's some fairly tall points in the city, not necessarily in the dock ward, unless you wanted to climb one of the cranes.
Yeah, go on then. Go on.
There's nobody on the crane, but you go towards one and start to clamber up. It's fairly easy. There's a ladder. It's fairly steady that takes you up to... They're not terribly high, but they're higher so that they can get stock off boats into warehouses and things. You know how some warehouses on canals have that higher window? They're about the right height for that.
Yeah.
Flint, make a perception check.
19.
You can't quite see from the cab of the crane, so you just flick yourself out and the rest of you watch as Flint just starts to clamber onto the roof of this crane, and there's a brief moment where one of his feet slips and you all just hold your breath and then he manages to clamber up, and you see just hazily hovering a long distance off from Waterdeep but still visible, there is a very large city with spires reaching into the sky, buildings squat, tall, crumbled, and beneath it all there is a dome with a bluish white haze that crackles and cracks as it moves over the landscape underneath.
Can I tell what origin it might have, or what kind of magic is floating it?
Roll a history check and an arcana check.
I'm good at both of those. So, first history, so that's a 20, not natural. And arcana is less good, that is a 16.
You're fairly read up on history. You had a deep interest in it when you were mining for particular artifacts and things of interest. You've heard of an old empire that enslaved the Sword Coast and its environs a long time ago and ruled over it. It was a magocracy called the Netheril Empire, and one of its main distinguishing factors was flying cities. Your arcana check indicates to you that this is impossibly a Netherese city. And the reason that that's impossible is that the empire fell almost 2,000 years ago. And that's where we're going to end tonight's episode.
Floating cities, we're going to engage in dogfights around a floating city. I'm going to build a plane.
Okay. Thank you very much for playing. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for listening. Like, subscribe, review, all that good stuff. Everybody who wants to say bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
I have a dead sister.